Hey, welcome to another episode of Heroes and Videos. Fantastic Four First Steps is out in theaters. Go see it. It's fantastic. Sorry, I know everybody leans into that. Today we're going to talk about the Silver Surfer, not the Silver Surfer Shalaval that they had in the film, though I think that was a great performance and a great use of the character. We're talking old school Norrin Radd Silver Surfer today. I'm going to go through my collection of the original series and just take a look at those covers and scroll through them pretty quickly. Would love it if you'd subscribe to the channel. Please hit notifications so you get new content when I have that up. And without further ado, let's get into the Silver Surfer. Before I get into the series, it hit me, hey, what was the first Silver Surfer comic I remember picking up off the stands? It's over here, just behind me here, the Defenders, number 11, which was the kind of the epilogue of the Avengers Defenders clash. I came into comics picking them up off the stands right during that crossover. I just thought it was amazing. Was really drawn to the Silver Surfer. You see him there in the upper corner. Actually, he's in the corner of both of these books. The other one I have up is Defenders 3, which I picked up as a back issue. Defenders was one of those titles I tried to collect when I was buying them off the stands, in the teens and 20s of the book, not me. But I went back and filled in as much of that early run as I could. Have it all now, but those early Defenders issues were great, and the Silver Surfer wasn't in a lot of those books, but the ones he were in, I was just drawn to the character. Thought he was really, really cool. So let's go ahead and get right into it. The Silver Surfer series that came out in the 60s. Stan Lee wrote it. John Buscema did the art on a lot of the issues, and it's just priceless. These things are amazing to me. I think they're incredible books. The first 6 or 7 issues, honestly, I consider literature. The storylines, the art, they're just amazing comics. And so let's get right into it. First up is Silver Surfer number 1. There you go, classic cover with the Silver Surfer flying towards us. Of course, I guess he's not flying towards us unless we're in space. He is over the Earth. You'll recall Galactus at the end of that original Galactus trilogy banished the Silver Surfer to Earth. And for a lot of my childhood and early adulthood, that was the status quo. Norrin Radd couldn't get off the planet. It was kind of a just punishment for turning on Galactus. He said, "Great, you like these Earthlings so much, you're going to have to stay here." So a lot of the story dealt with, or a part of his angst was the fact that he was trapped here. It is a big premiere issue. This is the first issue, I think, where they really dive into his origin. Like you get to see him before he became Silver Surfer, that flashback, and just an iconic classic cover there. Next up is Silver Surfer number 2, which is the introduction of the Badoon, which was a very interesting lizard-type race. Steve Englehart did some different things with them in his Defenders run. Keeping them in the movie theme there, Guardians of the Galaxy, the original iteration in the comics, wasn't what we saw on the silver screen. It was a group of folks that was 1,000 years in the future, I believe, very much like the Legion book in DC. And humanity had been conquered at that point by this race of aliens, the Badoon. And what I found interesting was the Badoon first appeared here in Silver Surfer, present day, and then when they created the Guardians of the Galaxy in that one shot in Marvel Superheroes, I believe, and the number escapes me. It's not 20 because that's Doctor Doom issue. I want to say, if I had to guess, I'd say 17, but that might be wrong. Please let me know in the comments if you guys have Googled it or gone out to CLZ to check it out. But yeah, this was the first appearance of the Badoon. Great cover. That purple cover just really pops. Got a couple of these guys. This is the best looking copy I have. That's Silver Surfer number 2. Up next is another introduction. This is the first appearance of Mephisto. I just love these bright colors on these covers. You've got that purple cover we just went with, and then here, Silver Surfer number 3 with the first appearance of Mephisto. You'll see he's got Shalaval, who we mentioned earlier, not quite the same character in the comics as we saw in Fantastic Four First Steps, but they're just a great cover. And those John Buscema interiors on this run are just nothing short of outstanding. They're just phenomenal stuff. Speaking of which, I know Buscema liked to do Apparently he didn't like his superhero work as much as he did things like Conan, more that sword and sorcery thing, which is why I think he enjoyed this next character so much, which is Thor. Here is maybe my favorite cover of all time. It certainly makes a lot of folks' top 10 list. This is Silver Surfer number 4. This is one of those covers that often people do a what happened 5 seconds later cover, because you've got Thor and the Surfer just at odds there. It's just a great looking cover, and again that stark black background with the purple hues is just amazing. This is another book that where Buscema excelled, because a good part of it takes place in Asgard. So you've got Loki, you've got the Asgardians, which is much more that Conan sort of sorcery feel. So that's yeah. This one I got a couple of these too, but this is just an incredible book. A lot of action, obviously, as with most team-ups or most superhero and versus superhero stories. Our heroes battle ahead of time before realizing who the true villain is, and I think I already mentioned Loki earlier, and so you can probably guess who's the villain in that issue. Next up is one of the better. It's kind of a break from those super different colored covers, or those single hues, if you will, like the red for Mephisto and the purple with the Banoon. But this is the number 5, and Who Shall Mourn for Him. The character they're referring to is not on this cover. I don't think he's over there in the background. That's the Stranger, who over the years has had a variety of powers and sizes and whatnot, but here he's looming large over the Surfer. This is one of the better stories in the run in terms of what actually occurs in the book. It's just great, like an everyman, if you will. It gets to save the day, or save the planet, I guess. So really enjoyed that one. Next up, we're back to some colors that pop. The number 5 popped as well. This is Silver Surfer number 6. Honestly, it's been a long time since I've read this one, so I can't speak to the story. But again, just incredible cover. That great surfer pose there coming at you. This again, start to finish. This is an amazing run here at Silver Surfer. And what I believe is the last. Oh, I didn't mention these were all double-sized books. You may have noticed even back to number 1. These guys are all 25 cents at a time when comics were maybe 15. I don't think 20, but 15. And it was a larger book inside, or it was a thicker book. Inside most of those early stories, though they were fairly long stories, was a little Watcher story with the little Tales of the Watcher, I think is what it was called. And this is the last of those larger books. This is Silver Surfer number 7 with the Heir of Frankenstein. Everybody remember that's not the name of the monster, right? That's the name of the doctor. So this is, I don't think, I'd have to look to see if this preceded Young Frankenstein. I think it did. Though we might be talking early 70s here. For some reason I'm thinking late 60s. So I don't know if that's technically the Heir of Frankenstein. But another really great cover and a really good book. I started buying these. I didn't buy these off the stands, obviously, if my first book was Defenders 11, which was number of years after the last Silver Surfer book, or the title. But I started buying these as back issues, and it was a very attainable title. The fact that, prices weren't outrageous in the 70s for comics, and so the fact that there were only 18, didn't have comic shops everywhere, didn't have conventions everywhere, so it was still kind of hit or miss. Maybe once a year, or you could get to a convention somewhere, if that. But so it was still hard to do. But it wasn't unattainable to think, I can get a complete series of an 18-issue series. I don't know that I can get Amazing Spider-Man or Fantastic Four, though that may have changed over the years too. You'll have to wait for subsequent videos to see that. Next up is number 8. So yes, indeed, these were back when comics were still 15 cents. I guess I could have answered my own question there. Those double sizers were 25. It does say now only 15 cents because they've gone back to just regular size comic. This is the introduction of the Ghost, who's one of those kind of like the Gentleman Ghost in DC. This is kind of a ghostly character, pirate type or Victorian type character. However, and I want to say there was some space stuff involved too in terms of travel Number 9, so this was the first two-parter. I don't know if originally it was supposed to be in one of those double-sized books, but this is the second half of that, again with the ghost. He's got the ocular, the eyepiece thing going on there, like most pirates have an eye patch. He's got a laser beam eye, but it also looks like he's balding, like most middle-aged bald pirates, I guess. I don't know. I just noticed that he's got a bald spot there. So that's number 9. Next up, in a world he never made, we've got Silver Surfer number 10. Obviously a bit of dramatic license there, because you've got the surfer above as like the old floating heads, or the character not in effigy, but the representation of him over the title card, and that's Norrin Radd as Silver Surfer in the Marvel Undercover outfit there, wearing the semi trench coat and hat and glasses. Yeah, because who's going to recognize you with sunglasses on, right? Another great book. As you can tell, he's facing an army of another nation, I'm guessing. It's been a while since I read that one. Here we've got, look at this, oh bitter victory, look who's back. It's Shalabal, the Silver Surfer number 11. This was I kind of, when I was buying these, I thought of this as the end of the canon's the wrong word, the end of the classic run, if you will, because after this point the book seems to kind of rely on guest appearances a lot, and I don't know if the title was having trouble, but it's not as much of the classic Stan Lee great stories that were going on in those first half a dozen issues or so. The book after this point becomes kind of, and this is pretty brutal, this Oh Bitter Victory here, because I think it's, if I recall, it's one of those things where the surfer almost gets Shalabal. And keep in mind, he's trapped on Earth. So if he's there with her, that kind of tells you, and I'm going to guess, if I'm trying to recall here, I think Mephisto is probably involved, but she is on Earth as well. So there's some interesting dramatic things you can do with that. Next up, this isn't quite, I guess we're not completely into guest stars here, and if we were, we probably wouldn't pick the Abomination, but that is, believe it or not, the Abomination from the Hulk, which you can't quite see the lighting because he's lit up by the fire, so you don't see the green there. But if you look close, you can see that is Emil Blonsky in all of his glory there. Silver Surfer number 12. Again, these covers and the colors on them are just amazing. I'm having trouble thinking of another run where the colors are that vivid. Here the juxtaposition of the bright yellow from the flames and the surfer's blast, the white of the logo and the surfer, and then that deep dark kind of green background is just quite striking. Number 13's coming up. I need to upgrade this at some point. This is probably one of the worst conditions I have in the run. Silver Surfer number 13, The Dawn of the Doomsday Man. Again, beautiful use of color. I'd love to be in on the decisions of how they're going to color these books, because you got that yellow skyline in the background, along with the yellow and the Silver Surfer title, putting it against that black background behind the masthead there. It's just some great work in that color, the setting. Now's where you're going to see some very obvious guest star appearances, and they're positioned on the cover very much so. 2 of my top 3 favorite characters from a previous video. I think we mentioned that my third is on the shelf. Whoops, where we go? On the shelf right behind them. The ever-loving blue-eyed thing makes that to my top 3 list. These are the other 2 in my top 3 list. Silver Surfer and then Spider-Man. So here we have number 14. Silver Surfer and Spider-Man. Sooner or later it had to happen. They do battle. I think Spidey is a little outclassed here, though I guess Fire Lord may have an opinion about that based on some fairly controversial matchup years after this book. But there we go. Silver Surfer number 14. Just my misstatement there, evidence that Spider-Man tends to dominate pretty much any book he is in, and justifiably so. But there we go, Silver Surfer number 14. Number 15, this is a great cover as well. Buscema still bringing it. Silver Surfer and the Human Torch. number 15. So see the surfer attacked by the torch. Gotta love those old headlines that are just very much obviously telling you what you can see with your very own eyes. But again, beautiful color. I mean, colors on this cover between the white of the surfer, the red of the torch, the yellow logo, and the torch's flame, and that blue background. I mean, these things, again, pound for pound, this 18-issue series had some of the best use of color I think I've ever seen in a title. But yeah, Silver Surfer number 15 with the Human Torch. And Surfer's main villain, or main antagonist here, arch nemesis, is back in number 16, Silver Surfer against Mephisto. Feels kind of weird. Oh yeah, because they're fighting on the streets of New York. Again with the colors, the black background, the white and red. But this is Mephisto. Though, gee, spoiler, see Mephisto as he wins at last. That sounds really depressing. But that's Silver Surfer number 16. We are getting close to the end, so hang in there, guys. Silver Surfer number 17. Man, the more I talk about the color of these things, the more they just seem to just pop. Silver Surfer number 17. See the surfer battling Shield, because why not? Love that red and yellow. Again, Silver Surfer seems to be going into, like the Hulk mode, like, okay, the world's against me. I've got no choice to battle these guys. Just a great book. This is the last one with John Buscema doing the art. The next one's weird. I don't know if they knew where they were going after this. Issue 18, out of the blue, after 17 issues of John Buscema, we get Jack Kirby. And this is before Jack Kirby left. So it's not like we're talking 70s Jack Kirby. This is still a 15 center. Silver Surfer fights alone against the Inhumans. I don't know that the Inhumans were a big draw in terms of those guest stars I mentioned, but it feels like they were just kind of throwing stuff against the wall. But Kirby does the art inside this, which is an interesting change and honestly a little bit jarring. At this point, even though Kirby co-created the character, the Surfer's look, I think they even have, yeah, the corner box is even Kirby if you look at that, as opposed to everything else has been, oh, I take that back. Looks like they've been doing Kirby corner boxes all along. My mistake. I apologize, Jack, wherever you are. I'd mentioned that Kirby had co-created the character, and had very much, that had been the look of the character during the 60s, and when he would appear in Fantastic Four. A lot of his appearances in Defenders I mentioned earlier would be Sal Buscema. John Buscema has done the entirety of this title up until this point. Actually, those Defenders issues would be after this, so it was a little jarring as a collector, as I'm going back and reading these books, to get to issue 18, and it's full-on Kirby art. And in fact, it ends with a cliffhanger that never goes anywhere. At the end of this, the Surfer's full-on. Kind of like Peter Parker and Spider-Man do sometimes in his book back in the Stan Lee run. The Hulk would do it frequently, where it ends with, you remember Spider-Man occasionally would be like, oh, if they think I'm a villain, great, then fine, I'm going to act that way. And though Pete never really followed through with that, this book ends on that note as well, where it's like, like, fine, I'll make humanity pay, something like that. I don't know if they had planned on going into something where the Surfer was then going to be a villain when he next showed up. I'm going to have to do a little research to figure out where he showed up next. If you know, please leave me a comment please leave a note in the comments below, because I'm curious what his next appearance was. If I had to guess, I would think it would be something in those early Defenders issues, or that the Namor issue where the Defenders have sort of a pre-Defenders get together. There's a couple of issues of Namor where Namor and the Hulk and Silver Surfer battle that current iteration of the Avengers. I don't know historically if that's where he shows up after that book, but I would be curious if you know. That is it. So that's my look at my Silver Surfer collection of that original run. Obviously, I have the Englehart stuff as well as the John Byrne one over here behind me, which is volume 2. I think, at that point, which makes the series that went the longest, Volume 3. But again, love to hear what you think about Silver Surfer, what you thought about the depiction in the current Fantastic Four First Steps film. In the meantime, keep reading comics, keep going to see movies, and be kind to each other.